next week for the Quest Wednesdays, we're going to be exploring hooks and triggers. And I'm wondering, when you hear those words, what comes up for you?
Well, I think first of all, the triggers. Let me talk about that. I mean, when I started thinking about it, I was reminded of Pavlov's dogs. You know, that kind of experiment where when they fed dogs, they rang a bell, and then they stopped feeding the dogs, but they rang the bell, and the dog would slaver in anticipation of the food. And I kind of think of triggers like that. They're often situations that trigger memories that then give us a feeling. So the brain doesn't know that the actual experience isn't necessarily happening in that moment, but it responds as if it is. So psychological triggers often take us back to previous experiences. And I was thinking, I was online the other day. I have to confess this. Sometimes what I do is I go on to Skyscanner, looking at air flights. And obviously right now we can't travel, but I went onto Skyscanner and I was looking at flights to Bali, one of my favorite places. And I was just checking to see what the prices were like for April, hoping to go away in April, God knows. And what I noticed was I was getting a hit. I was really enjoying, because when I do that, my brain is imagining me being in the airport, you know, flying, packing my bag. And so I actually got a kind of a rush, a buzz from just looking at that website. And I didn't book a flight, and I'm not going on holiday, but it kind of triggered me into quite a joyful memory. And I think often triggers are thought about as the negatives. They can take us to dark places, but they can also take us to light places as well.
Yeah, I think for myself, it's very similar actually. I see a trigger as a situation or an experience that activates an emotional, physical, or psychological, response. So it activates it in the body. And then the hook, I see as the familiar behavioral pattern or thought loop in response to that trigger. So I see those two things working very closely together. What comes to mind for me is that quote by Viktor Frankl that goes something along the lines of, between the stimulus and the response, there is a space. And in that space lies our power to choose. And in our power to choose lies our freedom. So that stimulus is the trigger. Something happens. It might be I see something, I experience something, and I'm activated in some shape or form. It could be something in my body, me thinking something, me feeling something. And for me, the hook is where I actually then do something based on that stimulation. But that hook is coming from a place of patterns. There's something familiar about it. So it's not something that I'm necessarily choosing. It's something that I'm kind of reacting to in that regard. That's how I kind of see the relationship between the two.
Perfect. Yeah, you describe it brilliantly. And I think the word hook is great, because I know when I'm hooked, because I feel like I can't get away. It's like a fish being hooked. It's like it's wriggling, but it's stuck. It's stuck in this way of thinking, and it can't wriggle away. It's kind of trapped. So I see it partly like a trap that I have to work out how to navigate that in order to decrease the duration and the intensity of the experience. Because very often it's not a pleasant experience when I'm in this mindset and I'm going round and round and round in circles. So I think it's going to be such a rich topic, and I'm really looking forward to it next week.
Yeah, me too.
See you there.
See you there.